Oh. Okay. Hi, good evening, everybody. I'd like to call to order the Township Committee meeting for Monday, January 27th, 2025. If you're able, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we're going to move on to the Open Public Meetings Notice pursuant to this Open Public Meetings Act. Notice of this meeting was sent to Cranbury Press, Trent Times, Home News Tribune on January 3rd, 2025, posted on the Township's website and sent to those who requested a copy of this notice. Next, we'll have roll call. Mr. Christopher?
Here.
Mrs. Elbadawi? Here. Dr. Rogers?
Here.
Mr. Scott? Here. And Mayor Kinnear?
Here.
Thank you.
Okay. Do we have any agenda additions or changes for this evening? Oh. No? Okay. Okay. Do I have a motion to read Cranbury Township Resolution R0125-21?
So moved.
Can I get a second? Thank you. So our resolution, roll call. Yep.
I'll be over there in a second. Okay, sorry, we're going to do roll call on that. Mr. Christopher?
Yes.
Ms. Elbadawi?
Yes.
Dr. Rogers?
Yeah.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mayor Kinnear?
Yes.
And it's unanimous. Thank you.
Well, we have a very special resolution this evening. This is in recognition of service for Michael J. Owens, our Chief of Police. So I will read this, and what a nice turnout. It's so nice to see. Okay. Whereas Michael was appointed to the position of patrol officer for the Township of Cranbury on January 8th, 1999, serving his entire career with the department. And whereas Michael quickly moved up the ranks within the police department, appointed to sergeant, lieutenant, and captain before being appointed to chief of police on October 1st, 2020. And whereas during his career with Cranbury Township, Michael became involved in many community programs, having worked with the Cranbury School on many safety and security initiatives. He served on the Township's Municipal Alliance Committee and served as Cranbury Township's Office of Emergency Management Coordinator. And whereas Michael has been a part of the Middlesex County Association of Chiefs of Police and the New Jersey State Association of Chiefs of Police. And whereas during his career, Michael spent many sleepless nights dealing with major weather events such as Tropical Storm Henry and Hurricane Ida. And whereas Michael implemented the department's coordination and participation in the Arrive Together program through the Office of the Attorney General, providing support to members of the public suffering from mental health and substance abuse issues. Whereas Michael has participated as a rider for the Police Unity Tour, riding for officers who have fallen in the line of duty. And whereas Michael is well respected by his fellow police officers, peers, township committee members, past and present, and above all else, this community. And whereas throughout his many years with Cranbury Township, Michael has demonstrated enthusiasm, great professionalism. He has embodied his motto, integrity, professionalism, and courage, and he has strived to be the best chief of police for those he serves. And whereas Michael has decided it is now time, after 26 dedicated years to the Township of Cranbury, to move on to the next phase of his life and retire as the chief of police. And therefore, be it resolved by the Township Committee of the Township of Cranbury that hereby thanks Michael J. Owens for his many years of service and for making Cranbury an even better place to live. And be it further resolved, a duly authenticated copy of this resolution be presented to Michael J. Owens with best wishes and congratulations on a commendable career in law enforcement.
Yes, of course. Other side. Thank you.
Thank you for the kind words. I appreciate it. Very nice. It's good to see everyone. Nice to meet you, Mr. Christopher. Congratulations on your new role there. Good evening, members of the Township Committee and Ms. Marabello. Ms. Rubin, it's good to see everyone again. Colleagues and friends and residents of our community. As I sit here tonight, I find myself reflecting on what has truly been an incredible journey For 26 years, this town has been more than just a place of work. It's been my home, my purpose, and my extended family. To say a lot has changed during that time would be an understatement. When I first put on this uniform, town was a different place. We were smaller, quieter, and perhaps a bit simpler. But over the years, as our township grew and changed, so did our police department. Through it all, one thing has remained constant: the unwavering dedication of the men and women I have the privilege of serving alongside with. I could say without hesitation that the officers of this department are some of the finest individuals I've ever known. They are just more than coworkers. They are people that have run towards danger when others ran away, people who have sacrificed times with their own families to protect this community, and people who exemplify what it means to serve with honor and integrity and courage. Together, we've faced challenges that have tested us in ways that we never expected, from responding to emergencies, to adapting to societal shifts, to bridging gaps between law enforcement and the people we serve. We've had to evolve, innovate, and at times redefine what it means to be a police officer in today's world. And yet, through every trial, what has stood out to me is the heart of this community. The support, understanding, and partnerships we've received from the residents and the Township Committee have been the foundation of our success. This relationship has been a two-way street built on trust, respect, and shared commitment to keeping the town safe and thriving. I leave my role with a profound sense of gratitude. I am grateful for the opportunity I've served here, for the memories I'll carry with me, for the friendships I've made along the way. I'm grateful to this committee for your leadership, your collaboration, and your belief in our police department. As I retire, I do so with confidence in the future that this town and this police department, to the officers who remain, I want you to know how proud I am of you. You are more than capable of meeting challenges ahead. I know that you will continue to serve this community with the same dedication and excellence you've always shown. Finally, to the residents of this town, thank you. Thank you for letting me be part of your lives, for trusting me to lead, and for reminding me every day why I chose this path. You are the heart and soul of this community, and it's been my honor to protect and to serve you. Though I'm stepping away from the badge, this town will always hold a special place in my heart. I look forward to seeing it continue to thrive, and I'll always be cheering it on from the other side of the badge. And I thank you. That's all.
If there's anyone here that would like to say a few words, you're more than welcome to come up.
Hi, I'm Joanne Charwin, 4 Maplewood Avenue. On behalf of the Cranbury Municipal Alliance Committee, I would like to thank Chief Owens for participating as a member of the committee. He has been on the committee all through his tenure as police chief. Chief Owens has expressed the importance of law enforcement participating on the committee and has made many valuable contributions to the Municipal Alliance. Chief Owens has demonstrated his commitment to substance abuse prevention and the importance of mental health. A notable new program that Chief Owens recently brought into Cranbury is the Arrive program, which serves the needs of individuals in crisis when a call is made to the police. Several towns in Middlesex County are teaming up to provide a mental health professional and a police officer to respond to calls where an individual is having a mental health crisis. The mental health professional will also provide follow-up with the individual and provide resources. In addition, many officers in Cranbury are trained in CIT, crisis intervention training, which shows the commitment of Chief Owens and the Cranbury Police Department to the health and wellness of our community. As a community member, I thank Chief Owens for protecting and serving our community and participating in numerous community events through the years. It was always nice to see the chief at so many events, including Cranberry Day, Halloween, the Health and Wellness Fair, National Night Out, Special Olympics Torch Run, and the Police Unity Tour, just to name a few. Best wishes, Chief Owens, on your well-reserved retirement, and thank you for the service to the Township of Cranbury.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mike. Appreciate it. Thank you for everything. And anyone here would like to say a few words, please do.
We'll start with you, Barbara.
Chief Owens, it was always great to see you, around town, and Mayor's Wellness Walk. I could always count on you to get officers there and participate on an important, the Mayor's Wellness Walk with this school and then walking down Main Street. And when I was mayor, being able to talk to you about, matters that kept our town safe. And I always felt like your decisions were just really well thought out and carefully thought out. And, it was just really great working with you. And I just wish you the best to your family too. You're going to be around. And I wish you the best in your next steps.
It's really hard to gather one's thoughts when you have taken us through such an emotional reflection, but it was very well due. I have interacted with you on the Municipal Alliance as mayor last year, as a TC member, and as a resident. I think that for me, the magic you have in making people feel not only safe, but relevant, special, the people you work with, the people that you serve, that's not something, it's not a gift that everybody has. And for us, I think we have, had that for so many years. We don't, we're spoiled. I'm really grateful that our new up and coming chief continues to have a similar compassion and a similar vision, and a similar finger on the pulse of the community that you have fostered, that you've had, and that you've fostered among the police community. Thank you so much, and absolutely enjoy your retirement. This is how you should do it when you can enjoy it. Thank you to your beautiful wife for sharing you with us for all these years and for coming to, of course, absolutely. Yeah. Thank you so much.
I want to add, I think as a leader, the best gift that you can give is the example that you've set. And I just think it's such a blessing that the officers that are here tonight and those that aren't here tonight had the benefit of that gift from you. So thank you.
So I won't take it personally that we didn't really get to work together. And as soon as I came on, you're leaving. It's fine. It's totally fine. But no, all kidding aside, I've been in town 19 years. And the faith that we've had in your police force in that time is second to none. I've raised my kids here. We've been around. My in-laws have been here for even longer. And never once did we question the police force and your mission. And I think that really has a lot to do with your leadership.
Let me just say, first of all, that was a hell of a speech. Probably dating myself, but it's on par with a Lou Gehrig speech. Very good. Excellent. We worked together for a number of years, and one of the things I took away from any interaction I had with you is that you're a competent leader and a good cop, but you're also a really good person, very kind and thoughtful. Every interaction I had with you sort of reinforced that feeling that I had. Like the mayor was saying, I think you're leaving the force in good hands. I feel like Giuseppe will take on that mandate and we'll run with it. So I look forward to what the Cranbury PD will do the next few years. And I'm sure you have a lot to do because you don't look much older than any of these guys in the back. So good for you. It's been a pleasure to work with you, and good luck in all that you and your family do together. Yep.
I'm going to be brief. I started in Cranbury, worked with Mike when he was a lieutenant, and it was a pleasure to come to Cranbury and to be able to work together. I'm so happy for you. It's well deserved. So congratulations.
If I can. Chief Owens, so what's next?
I'm gonna do a little traveling for the
Yeah.
next couple of months, I think.
There's a smile.
I think by the end of summer, my wife will be tired of me sitting around the house, so I will go back to find something.
All right. Very good. Good luck to you.
Yeah, thank you.
Enjoy.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks.
I know. Like, I don't know. Now what do we do, right? We're all a wreck over here. Okay. On that note,
Take a little recess.
yeah, emotional recess. Can I get a motion to approve the Township Committee minutes from January 13th TC meeting? Can I get a second?
Okay, I'm going to move on to roll call. If I can find my, Mr. Christopher,
Yes.
Mrs. Elbadai,
Yes.
Dr. Rogers,
Yes.
Mr. Scott, and Mayor. Can you hear him?
Yes.
Unanimous, thank you.
Okay. Reports and communications. Who'd like to go first? Don't all jump at once.
I'll go. So I attended the Parks and Rec Committee meeting. Kind of a busy meeting. They had a little bit of housekeeping. They renominated Brendan Hansen, who'll be the chair, and Kelly Laver will be the vice chair. As we know, their only capital item that they're presenting this year is the $30,000 for the revitalization and replacement of the pavilion, or sorry, not pavilion, what do we call it? Pavilion roof, thank you. Couple other things. Summer camp planning is underway. Packets will probably go out in early March. There was some discussion of on the walking path, there's a circle in the middle. And they were discussing the possibility for the 2026 budget, maybe a splash pad, which they had, at least at this meeting, they discussed discussing with all the individual TC members. I don't know if they reach out to you all, but that's something that they were going to discuss. The other issue that they talked about was possibly a Cranberry Brook dog run, which they're going to discuss with EC. In addition, there was a Helen Cody sculpture that was possibly going to go up in Heritage Park, but they're going to maybe present that tonight in discussion. I think that's about it. And there's a possibility this year of a field hockey camp coming into town, so that would be nice. That's it.
Can I ask you a question, Matt?
Yep.
When the Parks and Rec was merged last year, there was this hope that there would be sort of equal input between the old Parks members and the old Rec members. And now we have leadership that is two old Park members. Yeah.
I think they'd resent that characterization, but yeah.
Well, I'm stating, okay, but I'm stating, so how will you help maybe guide the conversation so that it is not heavy with the Historic Parks Committee and, less heavy with the old Rec Committee?
I don't follow. I'm sorry.
Last year, the leadership was one Am I correct? It was one parks and one rec, one old parks and one old rec.
Yeah.
Yes. And this year it's 2 old parks members.
Yes. I don't know how many Rex members are.
It was
Retained.
about a 50-50.
Yeah.
It was about a 50-50. And I don't think the makeup of that group hasn't really changed.
Yeah.
There's like one vacancy. How will you help, or can you help to continue that conversation, have both voices equally?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's only been one meeting thus far. So, I mean, we'll see. I mean, I'll work with Ken. Ken's sort of been the continuing factor throughout, Ken Jacobs. So I can work with him to make sure that we have some continuity. But yeah, I mean, we meet once a month. So.
Excellent. Thank you.
Rob?
We'll go in order here.
Yeah, we're gonna do it
I
now.
did have a meeting, I sat in on the Municipal Alliance meeting on the 21st, where it was a bit, as a lot of these are in January, a bit of a reorg. Joanne Charwin, who I think just left, she was renominated as chair. Sasha Weinstein as vice chair. Chief Owens actually gave we'll call it a preliminary goodbye address to that committee. We talked a bit about, the students talked about Jam Fest, and as much as the students are willing to talk in the Municipal Alliance meetings, which is not a whole lot. Talked about the new setup. They were happy about it. I think the school was very happy about it. Talked about a few of the things that they've done over 24, between the Arrive program that was actually mentioned tonight. Talked a little bit about some new business and AHA fundraiser at Cranbury School, I think, that's American Heart Association, sorry, from February 12th to March 13th. National Drug and Alcohol Fact Week is the March 17th to the 24th. Apparently there was a very good video, which I have not watched yet, that we're trying to distribute to parents in town via the school, specifically about drugs and alcohol, I should say. We leaned a little bit into Narcan and some of the opportunities for free Narcan through multiple municipalities. And then talked about goals for 25. Mostly we'll call it status quo-ish, talking about events, the wellness fair, Cranbury Day, et cetera, and continuing to partner with the school and other township entities. Any questions on that one? Because I have another one as well.
Yeah, real quick, what's the new setup for Jam Fest?
I think they sort of centralized it more so the kids weren't so boxed into like different segments of the school, so they can sort of interact a bit more with each other. So I think it was just more sort of help the social flow, if you will, which is important for teens.
Yes,
for sure.
Indeed.
As
And
we all
grown-ups.
know.
Not adults.
And fair. Cool. I also sat in the HPC meeting on the same day at 7 p.m. Again, a bit of a reorg. Jen Sutmeyer renamed as chair. Susan Ryan renamed as vice chair. Went over the calendar for the year. Heard an application on Park Place East. Had a couple of asks for the liaison role, i.e. me, talking about potential new street signs, sidewalks, which are clearly topics of conversation across town, specifically on Main Street, and then also about the doors on this building. Looking for options and ideas, and I think they've sent a couple over, if I recall correctly, since last week. So we'll keep looking into that for sure. 2024 accomplishments they went over, talked about some old business, the expansion of the buffer zone for the village area. Went over a potential design guideline refresher in August for the town. And that was kind of it. And it, crickets. Thanks, guys.
I'm happy to go. We had a meeting of the senior subcommittee on the 21st of January, and we discussed sort of ongoing programming and connections with other senior interest groups. Donna's doing a great job sort of picking up on all of that. Some of the interest groups include Middlesex County and how they provide a lot of sort of free programming and free services, especially for the senior community. And we did talk about how to keep within budget for some of the senior lunches. Prices do vary significantly between food vendors, so it's an ongoing research, I guess. With regards to the library, I did not present on the library board meeting last meeting because it actually conflicted with the planning board meeting. So I'm a member of the Library Foundation as well. So we spoke a little bit about some of the board information. And what I did want to share was a little brief synopsis from the library director, because it's really impressive. So they had 194 juvenile programs with a total attendance of 2,436. They had 228 adult programs with a total attendance of 3,277. They conducted 139 instances of outreach, reaching 2,044 people. The outreach includes visits to Cranbury School, the Elms, attending the Princeton Pride Parade, etc. And the meeting room used by outside organizations also matches the adult programming use. They had 231 bookings of the meeting rooms by local organizations and a total of 2,059 people in attendance. So for an entity that has sort of just come into town, they are being utilized and loved. I hope I can use that word. So well done to them. They passed their budget and they are going to be hosting a library retreat on February 15th that I look to attend. And that is my report. Thank you.
Dr.
What is the
Rogers?
library retreat?
Their retreat is going to be at the library.
That's for public or staff?
No, it's for their staff and then thank you.
I attended the Shade Tree Commission meeting and their work session, and it was a reorg for the meeting, very quick, which they then quickly went into a work session. And the work session was the 2025 objectives in Shade Tree's Community Forest Plan Management Plan. And they reviewed their mission statement. And just as a reminder, they do have powers and they are not advisory. They have authority to maintain and to sustain the tree canopy. There was a lot of discussion on hiring an arborist for the purposes of the tree inventory and just so much knowledge. It's just amazing how much knowledge and training they go through. And there's the street trees suitable for growing under different conditions. And Jessica Irons and Kathy and all the crew are working on a tree list that people can go to online to, when they're replacing or need to put in trees. I also attended the Environmental Commission meeting on January 21st. One thing that came up, Parks and Rec rep Sally suggested, and EC is in agreement. There's a path along Old Cranbury Road that's kind of becoming in disarray, and the EC would like to find out a way to possibly manage that path because people are using it for biking and walking, and if there's a way that they're going to look into possibly improving it, if that's something that we want to do too. They reviewed township properties, the preserves that need maintenance. A reminder: the stream cleanup is April 12th from 9 to 11. It'll, I think, be. I've been to, I think, all 14. This might be the 15th year of the stream cleanup. It's in partnership with the Watershed Institute. And then the big push this year is the outdoor classroom initiative. They're trying to find funds for that, and is the Cranbury Township Community Energy Plan. There's they're grouped into action items, 7 strategies, and how us as a community can reduce our energy consumption, increase our renewable energy. So there's a whole bunch, I'm not about to read it, there's a whole bunch of action items, and they're trying to pick out a few that align with what Cranbury might want to do, such as, we're already a part of community solar, and how can we increase our solar renewable energy? EVs, can we get it into the municipal, fleets? Just seeing what the impact of our town is on energy use, consumption, and reduction. And it fits into the master plan of the state of New Jersey, which is trying to reduce our energy consumption and increase our renewable energy. And another thing that any questions on that?
Stream cleanup, because
Yeah.
I'd like to add it to the weekly announcements, but do they have a link yet? I think you were waiting on that.
Yeah, we could do it the following.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
We'll
just
get
better
it
if
out
it has a
there.
link so people can actually
Yeah,
sign up, call
I
to action,
I
right?
think they may be changing where it's located, originally, but I'm not sure if they fine-tuned that one yet. Yeah, but I'll find out for you and get it to you. The other thing that I represent the public in the Middlesex County Ag Development Board, and we had an annual meeting. It was a reorg, but one of the really cool things that are going on, I just wanted to let you know, some of the New Jersey Farmland Preservation, they have a monthly summary report. And some of the things that the ag development, especially the state ag development committee works on is soil protection standards, which has been ongoing for years. The statewide formula, there's a new way of when a farm wants to go into preservation, they're coming up with a new formula. It's called the statewide formula of value for a property, because they realize that, open space is very valuable, and how do we get that in the price when you're pricing a property? And then the next thing that's really cool is this thing called Next Gen Farmer Program. They're really trying to get the next generation to become farmers, and what are the stumbling blocks? How can we train the next generation in becoming farmers? Anyway, so it's a great thing to be part of. It's a county board, and they meet in Cranbury, which is really convenient. So anyway, and we have targeted farmlands that we list, and if any of those farms can get preserved, they have to first become on the target list, and then the owners need to agree and go into this program. So that's it.
Okay.
Madam Mayor, if I may, I forgot to bring up one thing. I just wanted to commend you and head of DPW, Jerry Thorne, for getting the lake
So fun.
all up and ready for skating. I had texted you on Friday morning and told you I thought the lake was ready, and you said, well, maybe Monday, and then but you're like, oh, I want to move it forward quickly, and I'll get Jerry on top of it. So you guys did a fantastic job of expediting that and making sure that that opportunity for Cranbury residents was there. So
Thank you.
Thank you.
I had a little comment about it because I feel like there were people of all ages out there, but all of them with a 5-year-old's grin on their face the entire time. So I think we all turned into children for a couple of days. It was
Well
a
done.
lot of fun. The Peanuts image on my post was intentional because I figured who's going to say anything negative with a picture of the Peanuts on it. With that said, thank you for that. I just want to reiterate to our residents that the sun is a strategy to get a tan. It is not a strategy to melt your sidewalks after it snows. There are so many unshoveled sidewalks that are around town that we really I'd hate to have to enforce this and have it be punitive. But when you kids need to get to the bus, or kids are walking to school, or people are walking their pets and they're forced onto a road, it becomes dangerous. If there are people that need help because of age or disability, then we'll try to find a way to ask a neighbor or get someone out there. So we got to find a way to help people that need help and physically can't do it. But those that are able-bodied to do it, we just need to do a better job as a town of getting those sidewalks cleaned up. I also wanted to thank Jerry and his team at DPW and Denise for helping so much to get that ice tested on Brainerd Lake in such short notice. I wanted to thank the volunteer fire department for Saturday night. They lit up the lake, and it was awesome. It really was heartwarming, not ice melting, thankfully, but to see the number of people that enjoyed being out there for the last 48 hours. The green flag is still up, so always friendly reminder, look for the flag, no ice. And then just to piggyback on what Aman said about the senior subcommittee, kind of focus on 3 areas going forward: programming, the senior center itself, and increasing sign up. Donna Wyckoff shared the senior lunch program, and there's just some great programming coming down the pike. I'd also encourage any members of our community that have a skill, a talent, if they want to maybe sign up for one of these lunches and be a presenter. I know we have some in the audience tonight that are volunteering their time. So anyone else that can wants to do that, please just reach out to Donna Wyckoff on that. And a reminder that during school construction, our senior programming will continue to be at the library. And I'd like to encourage all seniors to sign up. We've got the Senior Center annual registration form that's here. You can pick it up on Town Line. I believe it's posted online. So that is really an increase, as we want to engage more members and increase the voice of our senior residents and increase the attendance. It's also a great place to generate ideas on future programming, initiatives, ask questions, meet new people, and socialize, which, again, growing older, I can speak from my mother's experience, becomes increasingly more isolated. So that makes things like this really powerful in town. As of today, we have 200 woofs and 32 meows that are licensed in our town. That deadline is this Friday, so please make sure to use the new portal or fill out the form or come down to Town Hall. And then our annual rabies clinic was held on Saturday, this past Saturday from 1 to 2. There were 33 vaccinations, most of them pre-registered with 29, and then 7 walk-ups. And that's all I have. Are there any questions?
Can I ask you, how do we test the ice?
Drill.
Is that right?
Literally. Yeah, you spot test and you drill, and there's a 4-inch that's at a minimum that it has to test.
And that is DPW that does
Yeah.
that? Very cool.
So they originally said Monday, and then we did a little begging, and then Jerry and the team went out there, got some orange paint, did the drills and tested it and got it going. But it was a blast.
It's amazing that like we remember all of this stuff because it happens so infrequently. I think
Yeah.
it's only happened, this is the 3rd time since we've been in town, which is amazing.
Yeah. But it was really, for a change, very joyful experience being on social media because everybody was happy and they were all sharing these fond memories of when they were kids and growing up. And even people that have moved out of Cranbury were remembering it. And then that's when the concept of the lights was born, just from reading those comments. So I was really excited for the chief, the fire chief, to step up and make the 2 young guys and the volunteer troop sit out there for 3.5 hours. So, but we had a pizza delivered to them. So
Young is
to
under
thank
50.
you because they sat out there. There was also an EMT there.
Okay.
And I think it's also important to note that not one injury. Although I was picking up the pizza and the guy walked out the front door of the Cranberry Pizza and I heard the fire alarm going off, the siren. I was like, oh no, like, no. But they handled all their calls and were able to volunteer and do that at the same time, which was pretty cool. So, yeah, it was
I have
good.
a quick question about snow removal. Ms. Marabella, you can help us with it. Like, what's our current enforcement mechanism? I mean, is there any way for residents, if there is a sidewalk in their neighborhood that's
They can let us know, and then there are 2 opportunities. They get a notice to comply, 1, 2, and then if they don't comply, there is a monetary punitive.
I mean, I would, as a homeowner, I would think that the only reason you wouldn't do it is you can't do it. Right?
One
So-
would hope.
Yeah, one would hope. So, I mean, do we have any way to see if, wellness checks or anything to see if, if someone is not shoveling their walk, is there a reason?
No, but I mean, neighbors, if you see your neighbor's elderly or is unable health-wise to do it, you should, knock on their door and ask if they want you to help, especially when there's not that much snow. I mean,
Yeah.
we didn't have a foot of snow.
No.
So it could easily have been shoveled away or snow blowed, so.
And
There are plenty of able-bodied young people who can
Correct.
probably help out in this town. I've got a 15-year-old sitting at home, certainly not shoveling my sidewalk, but
Yeah.
I would send him to someone else's.
I would tend to, I disagree. Like, a lot of people don't realize that 48 hours you have to have your, we need to get the information out there. And it's good that it's out there on the announcements, but, just word of mouth as well as online, and just knowing that that's our ordinance. Within 48 hours, it needs to be shoveled. So I think that's probably a reason too. Just my humble opinion. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Subcommittees, department heads, we don't have anything on the agenda, correct?
I have something to
Okay.
report. So at the last meeting, the fire company presented a petition to the Township Committee to create a fire district. Debbie has had the opportunity to look at the petition to verify the numbers are accurate and that the signatures were complete. So the next step is for the Township Committee to do their due diligence, research, ask the questions, and then once you've done that, come back with a date for a hearing, because a public hearing has to be held.
Do we feel, as a TC, that another working session would be helpful as part of that due diligence process? Because I'm sure we maybe have different or more questions than we had before, or do that work independently and then come back and decide on a hearing?
If we don't, what's the next step for us? I mean, if we don't have a work session.
Public hearing, and that can be anytime in the future. It doesn't have to be the next meeting, but you'll have to come up with a date for a public hearing. It has to be advertised. I
Separate
don't
from
think
a
we're there.
TC meeting?
It can be at a TC meeting, yes.
I have more questions than I had before that I'd like answered. I can do that independently, or we can try to, if everyone agrees, we can do a working session and add it to one of our agendas. I don't-
As
I
the new
agree.
guy,
I
I'd
don't
be
think
on
we're-
top of that for sure.
What?
As the new guy, I'd be in support of that. Another working session.
And my only thought would be, I don't know if they have any more data for us. I mean, it might be good because Rob wasn't there, but
But Matt, they had sessions where
Yeah.
they connected with the
With feedback.
public, and we don't know what those questions are. And we don't know what the answers to those questions are. I'm not comfortable with us feeling, or I don't feel that I can make a decision yet. I would love a little more information, the opportunity to connect. I think that we also, Denise's comment is actually, like, we all have to do our due diligence. And so I spent a lot of time end of last year looking and speaking to lots of government officials and different towns. And I feel like my head is so full of information. At some point, if you guys want to connect, I'd be happy to share with you the different resources. But if we all have a path of questioning that I think we are concerned with, then let's get those answers.
That's what the public hearing is for. But if the 5 of you want to discuss the data that you've collected, the questions you have with each other, a work session is fine. To bring the fire company into it, that's basically what the public hearing is going
Yeah.
to be. And
Yeah.
for the public to also ask their questions.
Yeah, I wouldn't suggest that they do that. Yeah. But again, if we want to do more research, again, find out if those FAQs have changed from the last time that they published that document, then I would say that we add a working session for us to kind of go through it.
be a closed session or?
It can't be closed session. It has to be,
I mean, I think the one part is I have heard from residents who have gone to the public meetings, and they had questions that weren't on their frequently asked questions, that, like what you were saying. And I don't know how we get that information to us, you know what I mean? So that we can have, I'm sure the public has fantastic insight into certain questions, and I would love to know those as well, from a different perspective than what I see.
Are there any minutes from that?
No, because they're just public. Yeah. So how do we get that information?
I can take that action item and sit down with them and try to get a summary of those sessions from them. I think that last time that they were here, they indicated that there were some questions that they couldn't answer, right? Not yet, right? And they were still working on them. I'd like that information too, specifically what they couldn't answer. If you guys are okay with that, I can take it, or we individually have that same conversation. That's completely up to you guys.
I mean, with respect to their time, I don't know that we need to have multiple individual conversations. I am, as an individual, very comfortable if you are willing to maybe collect some of that information so that we can make a more educated decision.
And I know when we went to the municipal league, we had opportunities to speak with other
Yes.
townships and how they've been working with this is probably a countrywide, but at least statewide issue with volunteerism and the amount of time it takes for training and how they've been resolving these.
And nobody had a
situation.
perfect answer.
No, right?
Yeah,
Right.
nobody
But there
had-
are other answers. That's the point too. So.
Correct,
yeah.
correct. They shared with us several options.
Right.
And I pursued a lot of those options with the individual sort of organizations. We can chat individually. But going back to your point, if we are able to get some of the answers to the questions we didn't sort of come up with, it will be helpful to create that bigger picture.
Mhm.
And I'm certainly very happy and comfortable if you could do that. I mean, I don't speak for the rest of the TC, but how do you all feel?
If you're willing. Have faith.
I'm
And
just
thank you.
wondering, also whether we could reach out like to public members that we know that attended and maybe get,
For sure.
if there's any other way besides hearing it from the,
Yeah.
the fire company,
Yeah, that's a great idea.
If anyone knows anyone that's attended and if there were any questions that weren't answered yet, and if we could find ways to get them answered as well.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah. If
But I
we could
think
each do
I
that,
think
if
we have
know.
work to do,
For sure.
you know.
Okay, why don't we then look at the upcoming, and thank you for the work on that petition. Appreciate it. All right, so why don't we look at what the dance card looks like in February? I know we have some things coming up on
Yeah,
it, so I don't want to overload any particular agenda.
The next agenda is pretty busy.
Yeah.
So I would wait to do the work session to the second agenda in February because then the first agenda
Okay.
in March is the budget hearing. So
Yeah, okay, so maybe the second in February? Okay,
That should be the 26th.
and that'll give me time, and all of us time to do any more research on our own independently.
And if you want someone to join you, like if your schedule or if it becomes a little overwhelming, I think any of us would be willing to jump in as
Okay,
well. Yeah.
thank you, appreciate it.
Yeah, okay, February 24th.
Feb 24th. Okay. Okay. Do we have any follow-up items besides the one we just talked about? Okay. Boards and commission vacancies remains unchanged. I will just briefly just read that list out loud again. The EC has a member, a first alternative, and a second alternative open. The Municipal Alliance has a first alternative and a second alternative that are vacant. Parks and Rec has a second alternative. Shade Tree has a full membership open, and zoning has a membership open. So it's exactly the same as before, and we'll continue to post them in our weekly updates and the mayor's updates, and spread the word or consider volunteering yourself. Thank you, yeah. I don't know if, but the volunteer application form is available on every board and commission for ease of access. Okay. We have no first readings this evening. We do have 2 second readings that I'll request a motion for each of them individually. So the first, can I get a motion for the second reading?
So we're going to start with the ordinance number, I have to say the title, 01-25-01. This will be the first ordinance that is on for second reading. That is to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank. If we can have a motion in a second, and then we'll go on to public comment.
So move.
I'll second.
Thank you. So if you'd like to invite the public up now.
If anyone from the public would like to speak on this resolution? Or ordinance, sorry. Thank you. Seeing none, we'll do a
The
roll
TC has
call.
comments first.
Any TC comments? No?
Okay.
Okay.
We'll move on to roll call. Okay, so then we're going to move on to roll call for that ordinance. Mr. Christopher,
Yes.
Mrs. El-Badawi,
Yes.
Dr. Rogers,
Yes.
Mr. Scott,
Yes.
Mayor Knierim.
Yes.
Okay, that is unanimous. I'm going to move on to the second, read the title for our second reading. Second ordinance says on for second reading, which is ordinance number 01-25-02, which is creating in the Code of the Township of Cranbury, Chapter 6, entitled Restricted Areas in Certain Municipal Buildings. You'll need a motion and a second, then we could do public, and then TC.
I'll move that one.
I'll second.
Okay, are there any members of the public that would like to comment?
The ordinance is up here and it's been posted for 2 weeks. You could get a copy, Sally, if you like.
Second reading.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just make sure there's 2 up there. Make sure you get the right one. I think I have them in order.
It's the creating it in the code. 0125-2.
Okay. Anyone on the TC like to comment? Nothing to add?
Yeah, I wanted to comment on this if you don't mind, because I had a long, hard thought about this. First of all, it's a sign of our times that we have to have things like this, mechanisms in place to create protective areas for people and for information. For me, what I really needed to clarify was how this is a public building. This municipal building is a public space, and it is going to have protected spaces within it. And we do need to protect our staff and our information. And on that basis, I made my peace with this ordinance, and I'm very grateful that we are taking it seriously. Thank you.
Yeah, I had a comment on this, and I had to think it through as well. One of the great things about, I felt, our township is it's welcoming. And by creating these restricted, I had to clarify what it meant by restricted areas in certain municipal buildings and why we were doing it. And as you said, the reasons, make sense, in the times that we are in. But where I was struggling is, Cranbury is a welcoming town, and to have restrictions and to have the public come in and feel that there are all these restricted places it was very difficult for me to wrap my head around it. But after understanding it a little bit better, this ordinance makes sense in the time that we are living in right now. So.
If I would, Miss Marabello, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but since this is your nest, you could just expand on this a little bit for the public.
So it is a sign of the times, unfortunately. There are people out there who will go into municipal buildings basically just to torment the staff and to say it's a public building, you cannot have us removed. And that is true. It is a public building and there will be public space such as the hallways. We also interact a lot with the public in our individual offices for tax payments, for planning board applications. That will continue. What we need to have in place and what our police chief and our joint insurance fund is requiring is an ordinance, which is basically a law that allows the police to come in and remove these individuals from restricted areas. So yes, you're still going to have someone coming into the office, but if it's someone who does not belong there, should not be there, then this gives the police the ability to say, we're sorry, you need to go out into the hallway, into the public space. It's to keep our staff safe. Unfortunately, staff doesn't always feel safe because of the type of building that we do have. It is the building we have, and there's not much we can do about that from a security standpoint. We look at it every year. But there are things we can put in place to help them feel as if we are doing our best to keep it secure. And so this is just a necessity, and the signs will be up, but we will still conduct business as we always have. This is just to keep out those who aren't supposed to be here. That's what it's for.
And I'm assuming that if JIF, which is the insurance fund that covers most municipalities in New Jersey, I'm assuming that this is something that they've probably mandated for other towns.
Yes, and we are not the first town to do this. We actually did research, and the template is from other towns that use the same language.
I think it's also important to clarify that this isn't based on something happening in the future, that there have been real examples that have happened in this building where an employee's safety has been questioned. So it's not like we're taking this out of some other town's playbook. These things have happened here.
Thank you. That was a good discussion.
Anything else?
Okay, if there's no further discussion, we'll move on to roll call for that. Mr. Christopher,
Yes.
Mrs. El-Badawi,
Yes.
Dr. Rogers?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mayor Knierm?
Yes.
Thank you. It's unanimous.
Okay. Ooh, would someone like to make a motion, or does anyone want to extract out any of the following resolutions, A through P, or make a motion to move?
I make a motion to move.
I move, is that A through P? For motion? Okay, I second it.
Okay. I'm going to move on to roll call. Mr. Christopher?
I have a question about one. Can we?
Pull it.
Yeah.
We would have to pull it.
Yep.
Go backwards. So pull out,
So we A through P except
pull
for.
out B.
Can we pull out B for discussion at our next meeting?
Or now.
Or discussion now?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to do A, take out B, and then the vote
C
is
through
C
P.
through P.
Yes.
A,
Okay.
C to P.
Okay, so that will be what we're voting on. So Mr. Christopher,
Yes.
Mrs. El-Badawi,
Yes.
Dr. Rogers,
Yes.
Mr. Scott,
Yes.
Mayor Knierm.
Yes.
Okay, those items pass unanimously, and now we could discuss item B.
Great. So the reason I'm questioning it is A, I'm new to a lot of this, full disclosure. B, I am entirely supportive of affordable housing. I want to make that known as well. But C, I've heard a lot of commentary and discussion in town about where, how, and what is included in the units that are being mandated by the state. And I feel like I'm not informed enough to just make a blanket statement committing to the DCA's fourth round affordable housing need and prospective need numbers. And I think that means the public probably isn't either. I completely understand that it's coming and we have to do our due diligence and figure out the best way to get those done. But if over the next X period of time, I want to say it's 10 years, right? There's the potential for things to shift and change. I have concern, and maybe it's because I'm not educated enough on it, and you guys have stepped through it over the last few years. And maybe somebody can just help bring me along.
Well, I think the best way to handle it is like describe what that process is going to be, right? So we get the number, which all towns were given that number. And now we're following what that process is, which is, I would call it a discovery phase in the grand scheme of things, where we're trying to, with the help of our affordable housing consultant, see what the parameters of that, what Cranbury can do over this 10 years and build that plan the way we've done phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. So if we keep following that process, we'll be able to draw those conclusions. We're not there yet, right? So we're not at that point where we can start to deliberate, I would say, for lack of a better description, or contemplate this location versus that location or all that. So that's why I'd say that's a definition phase, when where we are is discovery, which is, I would say, further along than probably most towns. And we've been able to stay ahead of that process and be anticipatory of what this is going to mean for our town. I feel like Cranberry's in good shape to figure this out, but where we are in the process. So there's not a lot of questions that we are going to be able to answer for the public because of where we are in this process. If I've said anything that we all agree on or disagree on, but that's the best way I can lay the land. I've only been here 2 years. You've had a lot more experience with this. Amon, you've been deeper into this as well. So add whatever you'd like to add.
Yeah, I mean, I would just say that this is something that's being mandated from the state, and I feel like we're doing an excellent job of staying ahead of the curve and making sure that we're sort of proactively figuring out what exactly the state's going to mandate and how we're going to address it. And this resolution is really addressing the nascent stages of what we have to do to make sure that when these mandates come down, that we're able to address them. So this is really, I mean, we are doing stuff already. I'm not on the Affordable Housing Subcommittee, but I was last year, and I know we had a couple meetings. We met with some developers, and we're, sort of trying to figure out what exactly the state's going to ask for, or trying to figure out where these places are going to be. And this is just another step in that process. So I think you pulling it out is important, and I commend you for doing that, because it, it sort of raises the awareness for the township to know that this is happening, but it is happening, whether we like it or not. So
I wanted to just, I really, really appreciate how you started, which is this making peace with the moral obligation of the affordable housing units being in our community. And, for me, I've had to sift through a lot of the commentary on social media with suggestions of how it was done in the past. Because what happens is, as Mayor Knierim said, you have a consultant and you have a process, and then you have all the people telling you about what they did in the past. And those options are no longer available. And that's what I think the general public hasn't come, they're not aware of, obviously. So here we've got all these suggestions that are no longer part of the option for us. In addition, last year when the numbers first went out, there definitely was a lawsuit that a couple of mayors in different towns sort of signed on to, and it failed. And in having, conversing with other towns currently, what are they doing? What are their numbers looking like? Oh my God, one town I spoke to, their numbers are over 2,000. I was like, maybe we should just be quiet. I don't know. But we are following a process with experts' guidance. And I don't know that any of us were involved with the last, right? We weren't, right? With the phase 3, right? Yeah, okay. So we are in essentiality, like you, going through this process. But I appreciate the concern, because I think I sat there too. Thank you.
our subcommittee will be meeting at some point. Our subcommittee on this particular issue will be meeting at some point as soon as we have more information, and they'll be presenting facts to the rest of us.
Is this resolution part of the process? Like a resolution must be passed by a
Yes.
certain time? That's what I had a feeling. There's
Yes.
formula to this. So we're
Yeah.
part of the formula.
Has to be passed.
Yes, by a certain time probably too,
This
right?
is our last meeting to do it.
Okay, so that's why it's there.
I saw a hand go up. Just so everybody knows, there'll be ample time for public comment at the latter part of our meeting and on the agenda. So there will be time.
Thank you for the clarity that we need this done today.
That's,
Is there anything else, or can we have a motion to pass Resolution B?
I move.
Okay.
Thank you. We're going to move on to roll call for that resolution. Mr. Christopher,
Yes.
Mrs. El Badawi,
Yes.
Dr. Rogers,
yes.
Mr. Scott,
Yes.
and Mayor Knierim.
Yes.
Thank you. The passed unanimously.
Anonymously? I hope not. Okay, that brings us to our working session today. Just as a reminder, it's on the agenda, but CHA is happy to be here to present us today. This working session, the objective is for the CHA to provide an update and give the TC some insight on the Eden House project, which is located on Old Cranbury Road. Is my 15-year-old here? Because that's usually a practical.
Well, good evening, everyone. Mark Burkowski, I'm president of Cranbury Housing Associates, and I wanted to bring forth a discussion on the property that we are developing for a 4-bedroom group home for Eden Autism Services. I'm going to take you through a little history, especially since we have new committee members and new residents in town. 20 years is new to me. I've been a resident for over 50 years. So we'll start with this group home, and I'll give you a location where we are. If this pointer doesn't work on the screen, okay? The red dotted area is the site we're talking about. There are going to be a couple of parcels that we're going to be talking and referencing. So I want to just give you some background. This site we're going to call the Weeks home. They were the property owners prior to the township taking ownership of it. The site to the north is CHA's 20-unit affordable housing project that's been there about 10 years now. And then the little house to the bottom of the screen is the current 3-bedroom CHA Eden Autism Group Home. So we have one group home there already, and the intent is to build another group home in that red area. So a little history, that's what the home looked like. It was torn down approximately 5 years ago. The township took ownership of the site, and unfortunately, Mrs. Weeks lived there without heat, water, or sewer. We, as the neighbor, tried to help her in many ways. They had some family issues. Finally, the town did buy the property, and it currently is owned by the township, and the house was demolished. We took care of that. Now, this is where it gets a little complex. We hope the color coding works for you. The pink area used to be what we referred to as Pin Oaks property. And there's a little piece below it, which looks like 2 buildings on it. That also was the Pin Oaks property, but for ease of conversation, we're just saying that the pink is Pin Oaks. Also, the green area is part of that Pin Oaks property. The yellow is the Weeks property, and the blue is our CHA Eden House property. And that is also called the Betty Wagner House in her honor. So I'll refer to it as the Wagner House, the Weeks House, and Pin Oak. What happened is when we developed the property to the north, which was the 20-unit CHA housing project, the developer behind us was Four Seasons, and Four Seasons needed an easement, a drainage easement, through that little line of the Pin Oaks property, that pink. So we kind of worked to deal with them. We gave them the easement to come through that property. They demolished the Pin Oaks houses, which were substandard and could not be used. They also brought sewer and water to the Weeks property and to the CHA property, to the Wagner House. So we worked a deal, and after all was said and done, we could not use the property because the people at Pin Oaks were relocated to the Bennett Place property that we developed. And again, it was substandard, so the Four Seasons folk demolished it and kind of has retained its naturalization. Trees have grown, everything else. We then deeded this property, again, the pink and the green, the Pin Oaks property was deeded to the township, which is now contiguous with the property to the south, which we refer to as the township tree properties. I don't know if any of you were here when the township was widened and the township was gifted trees by the Turnpike Authority, and they were placed on that lot. So that's a history of how we have all these properties. When we are going in for site plan approval and we still have a jurisdictional issue, we originally applied to the zoning board. Sounds like the attorney is saying we can be the planning board. So either case, it doesn't matter. We did go to DRC for some conceptual review comments. And those comments basically, again, these are the three parcels, same color coding. But in order to make the yellow, which is the Weeks property, usable, we are requesting that we have a little bit more given to us from the township, and that's that green piece. It allows the property to be widened slightly and lengthened slightly. That allows the new house, the new 4-bedroom group home, to be moved further back, a bigger setback from the road, as well as to provide adequate parking and maneuverability without creating any issues with a drainage swale to the north of the property. And this is a blow-up of exactly how the development will work. So the house to the left is the existing 3-bedroom Eden home. The red house is the new proposed 4-bedroom group home. And the parking allows for the staff and the turnover of the staff. That's the biggest reason we have so many parking spaces. Both homes are staffed 24/7. So they have 1 or 2 people there and then shift change. So that almost doubles the amount of people. And that's why you see so much parking. But there's very little traffic during normal operations. So this is a rendering of what the house will look like. Again, it's a 4-bedroom home. It's got living, dining, it's outdoor space. On the first floor, and the house is designed to age in place, which is very important for our Eden participants as they age, that we don't want to move them around, just like all of us now age in place, and we like to stay in our homes. So on the second floor is office and then mechanical space, so office for staff and mechanical spaces. So I'm just going to go back a little bit to give you the color coding, which I think everybody can understand the colors a little bit easier. So we have the yellow, which the town will be giving to CHA when we're ready to start construction. We would like to have that green piece also part of that dedicated parcel so we can consolidate. We do have to have an engineer who's already surveyed all the properties to do the legalese of the proper subdivision and consolidation, et cetera. We also will have cross easements to access the rear property, the pink property for the town, which they currently have now. The town has that easement. So for some reason, if the town needs to get to the rear, they can just drive down what used to be a driveway. Now it's overgrown driveway. No, the front half is, but the back is stone drive. Paved, it's just a stone drive. And overgrown to boot. So if you walk, as I did, to find out what was going on with the drainage swale, it's overgrown for sure. So if Township Committee approves it, then we will go through, again, the subdivision paperwork, and then we go to Planning or Zoning Board. We will, again, I'm sure the lawyers will get involved with the right paperwork, but first we need Township Committee's approval to move ahead with the process.
What is the large pink? What is there now?
I'm sorry?
The large pink part of the property.
Trees, just overgrown.
And where's Four Seasons?
Four Seasons to the right.
To the right.
What was the answer to Four Seasons?
To the north, to the right on
Yeah.
that.
Mr. Burkowski, when we were at the DRC, there was a suggestion that was made for this project.
Yes.
Which was to line up the front of this proposed project with the currently existing CHA project, which would push the project further back into that pink color.
Exactly. That's that other 10-foot piece of green now, which is about 1,000 square feet. So if we look at, this is the new proposal with the house moved back the 10 extra
Is
feet.
this the move back?
Yes, yes.
Now, I did I went to the site. I think it just, I'm very visual, and it really helped me sort of to understand. First of all, this township land is not the most,
Beautiful.
it's nature, and it provides its service as a natural structure, but it's overgrown. There's trees that have fallen. There's there's a bridge that works, but I don't know if you can pass it because there's trees on top of it, a short little bridge. There's definitely that drainage. I didn't know what that water, that body of water was, but you're telling me now it's drainage
On the
from-
right side is a drainage swale.
Yeah, and so I wanted to say that if their township, if the TC is concerned about losing really vital land as a resource, I think that may not be the case here. It's going to be better used in this purpose. And the rest of the land, as it abuts the Pin Oaks Loop Trail, continues to provide its sort of natural habitat for, the flora and the fauna. And I saw a lot of dog prints today, so clearly people are visiting that area. But I just wanted to share it. I did send an email to everybody with some videos and some pictures so you could see what it looks like. You have a big task ahead of you because it's quite a piece of land to work with. There's, issues with trees and that waterway. These are the only two main things that I wonder, or I'm sure you will address appropriately, but how, with regards to the trees, is Shade Tree involved? Have they commented one way or the other?
Honestly, everything that you see for that 10-foot, that's all scrub that's grown up over the years.
Okay, so it's nothing really too valuable then, I guess. And is there any restriction with regards to the parking right up against to that reservoir? Is there, I don't know, is there any restriction?
Yeah, that's the reason we took the extra footage on the other side. We don't want to have to go to DEP because it's classified as ordinary wetlands. That's a year-long process for a lot of money with no benefit, because unfortunately it's a man-made swale. It's a ditch, maybe 2 feet wide and 2 feet deep, and it's now wetlands. So we want to stay away from it. So we did talk to both the township engineer, the planning board engineer, and our engineer, and they said, yes, we have enough buffer that we don't have that involvement.
And that whole green space, as you're saying, is just about 1,000 square feet?
Just the little tail up top, and then it's about 2,000 for the,
About 3,000 is what we're looking
approximately.
at, that total
Yes, the whole green.
just for scale? Okay.
yes.
And the way the property narrows so much at the back, you're able to accommodate for what you need.
When we moved that 10 feet back, first thing I did is ask my engineer,
Yeah.
is that okay, that 10 foot? And she said, yes, we're far enough away from this drainage swale that we don't have that complication.
That was my concern.
Yep.
Yeah.
That-
Thank you.
The worst is if we have to go to state for approvals. That's time and money that.
So I just want to point out that any tree that is taken down will, trees are there to help with erosion, to help with infiltration.
Yes.
So anything that we do, it may look kind of messy, but it's also necessary.
Absolutely.
So I guess moving it back, is that why you have to take more property?
Yes, that extra 10
So
feet.
what prevents you from keeping it where it was?
The recommendation from DRC is to have it further setback. We're already going for a front yard variance anyway because we don't meet the ordinance requirement. But the suggestion from DRC members, bring it back to more in line with the existing house to create a little bit more of a setback.
Because I'm just curious with the affordable housing that's north, how far back are they set back? I mean, could it be similar or is it,
This is,
the
jump
new
back.
one is now more?
The, go back.
Because look at that green, like the green.
You see on
area, you
the,
would
how
have
far
less-
that's set back 50 feet. We're only about 35 feet.
Okay.
So it's still closer than what the ordinance would allow and what we did on the other affordable.
Mhm. So, you're calling it, it's a drainage ditch and it does go into it's now a perennial stream back there. It's from the millstone
Yes.
going north. So,
We have
How
full
you-
drainage calculations. Our engineer prepared and township or the planning board engineer reviewed and signed off.
okay.
Yes.
Yeah, no, because I was out there too, and I was just poking around, and I'm, doing my due diligence, and, I was part of the no net loss reforestation that put in those thousands of trees.
Right.
I do want to protect that area as well, that we're not going to be digging into, our open spaces that, have taken a long time to make sure that we protect those as well.
Yes.
And I do support the affordable housing and you guys and what you're doing. We just want to make sure we're doing it in an environmentally sensitive way as well. So many different pulls on a piece of property. But I
So one
appreciate
thing I wanted to address for a second, because we talked about it, the new affordable housing round 4, a group home counts as 4 units. Every bedroom is a unit. So a bedroom is an apartment or a house. And when it's a group home, it counts double. So there's a huge
Appreciate that.
benefit.
So where you have the parking that's in the back, besides that kind of shift change to make sure it's 24 coverage, that can also be guest or visitor parking for those as
Yes.
well, right?
Yes,
Because there's no parking on Old Cranbury.
Correct.
Not safe parking anyway.
correct.
Or that we would recommend. Are there no parking signs up on?
No, there are
Old
not. But
Cranberry?
again, the traffic engineer for the town mentioned it. And it's the same issue as long as we have off-street parking. The number of visitors we have are very, very few.
I would imagine, but that at least they can
Yes.
safely park in the back.
And they also at DRC mentioned handicap parking, which we have the 2
The two on the side.
spaces over there
Correct.
could use.
Is that the pink piece that was parallel to the drainage ditch? Is that the road? Is that, I mean, the green piece? Was that the road? Is that the easement for
That's
the road?
part
Is
of
that what
the
you're-
road,
the
yes.
Pin Oaks Trail
Yes.
Road?
Yep.
Okay. And I'm just curious about, we now have, I don't know if you're grandfathered in or what, we have that new tree removal and replacement ordinance. By removing the trees, does that now kick in? I don't know.
I think it's something we have to look at and potentially have to ask for a waiver or a variance on that.
Right. Okay, so certain DBH trees.
Because we do have a
Have to-
very, very small lot, and between putting the house and the parking, there's not a lot of room to put anything.
No, and I know, because I could see there are trees in that area that will have to be taken down.
Right.
We do have that ordinance that has to be looked at as well, and Shade Tree worked really hard on that, so.
I thought that ordinance was for private property or commercial, right? So it's
It's
nonprofit.
for all.
It's for all property.
for all.
Everybody?
It's all property, yeah.
I do want to also really let the TC know that as a group home, it is treated as a single-family house. So a lot of the things we're doing go way beyond if this was a single-family house. But again, we'd like to do things right. We've been doing it right
But
for
I mean,
40
as far as
years.
code.
As far as site plan approval goes, it's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
single-family house. It's not a commercial property.
I have a question, not necessarily related to the land issues, but you said the residents are aging in. So I mean, once you get a resident in there, you expect they'll be there until they pass or until.
That's the whole, we can spend an evening talking about Eden Autism. I'm on that board as well. It's another volunteer hat I have.
Yeah.
And that's one of the areas that Eden leads the nation in autism is aging in place. And we now have a day center over in Plainsboro called Sharks Crossing, which is the first of its kind in the nation to age in place and teach individuals with autism who are aging in retirement age.
When they first get placed, what age are they average, you know?
They're over 21. It depends on the needs. When they set up a group home, they try to match participants that have similar backgrounds and can get along.
I mean, these could be residents for 40 or 50 years.
Yes, yes.
Interesting.
We have, again, sorry to digress, but
No,
I want
that's
to
all
talk. We just had our 50th anniversary for Eden this weekend as a gala. And we had a participant who has worked for Wawa for 42 years. So, yes.
Wow. Very good.
And I know you're going to follow all the stormwater, requirements, et cetera. So you don't have to do any offsets or anything.
Correct. And again, we're below the thresholds and everything else. Again, between 2 engineers, they're both happy. The one, our design engineer and your planning board engineer.
Thank you.
You're
Mr.
welcome.
Burkowski, could you put up the other photo with the foliage,
Uh,
like the blow up? Yep.
Oops, go back the other way. Not that one.
Yeah, so right here. If I remember correctly, at the DRC, another suggestion that was made was with regards to the continuity of that sidewalk.
Yes.
And I don't know if you would like to say anything.
That's kind of a planning issue, which when we get down to short strokes on cost, we'll come back to committee to ask about that. So The question that was raised is there's now a short piece of sidewalk on the Old Cranbury Road affordable housing site in front of this property, again, the Weeks property. There would be no walk, and in front of the existing CHI, there's no walk. On the property south, there is a gravel dirt trail. So one question was, do we extend the sidewalk, either concrete or asphalt or stone, to connect one property to the other? So I think becomes a DRC planning board issue. If they recommend it, we'll come back to TC because
Is that
that's
something-
dollars that certainly not
Something
in
you
our
guys
budget.
would, I mean, I would recommend it. I think that's something you guys are looking into, or?
Yes, so I think that's what we have
It'd be
to
nice if
discuss.
you
What
walk-
what
they can
makes
walk to the
sense?
Convenience store. and-
So what is it that you would need from the TC? You would be seeking from the TC permission to put the sidewalk in?
No, because again, fortunately, the neighbor to the south is CHA, so that's easy. So we talk to ourselves, and we have cross easements, so it's a question of just the money to put the walk in. Is it concrete, most expensive asphalt, or going down to stone, what we have now, going into the Pin Oak?
Is that
Trail.
contiguous past that tree?
No.
No?
You just see that little piece right there? That's the sidewalk, I
The
believe.
little tree that you, on the far right is blocking the sidewalk view, but it goes up to that, right, before the red
Right
line.
there.
That's
Yes,
the
that goes to the
sidewalk,
corner.
yes.
Okay.
Goes north.
So that was put in when we did the Old Cranbury Road development.
So again, just because I
Pointers
took
don't
a
work,
look
I
at that
just found out,
property.
because I have this pointer, it doesn't
Not
work.
your job, bro.
So as we're evaluating this land, and I don't know if any of you have ever visited this property. For me, it really settled correct for myself that this is a better use of what that land is currently,
Yeah,
being
it's-
used for.
It's grub.
I have to interrupt one thing. You don't have a choice. When the
Yeah.
town bought the property, I just saw the deed again, it has to be used for affordable housing purposes.
Oh, there you go. Why are you
So,
here?
Well, I think you answered a lot of my questions for
Okay.
making sure that, that area is not going to be digging into more of the Pin Oaks Trail area. And, and when I did go out there and see, where it was located, it doesn't go all the way back to the perennial stream, et cetera. So I'm glad to see all that. Thank you.
He needs approval from the TC. We need to take
Right,
a,
so we should
Do
take
we
a
need
vote.
a motion? What do you want?
Just take for the one that like that.
Just
little
a roll.
piece, right?
For the green portion on the map that we were shown, I'd like to move that
oh,
we,
I'm
as
sorry,
the
you know what I
TC
forgot?
Yes.
I have copies of the slide deck for everybody.
Oh, I have them in my email. You can save it.
Oh, yeah.
So while these are coming to us, I'd like to make a motion that we, as a TC, accept that green portion as part of, as part of the project for this new Eden Autism Group Home.
I'll,
Second.
I'll,
Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Third.
Someone fourth me.
I'm going to move on to roll call. Mr. Christopher,
yes.
Mrs. Obadawi,
Yes.
Dr. Rogers,
Yes.
Mr. Scott,
Yes.
Mayor Knierim.
Yes.
It's unanimous. Thank you.
Thank
If I
you very
could-
much.
Mark, before you
Yes.
leave, we didn't get a chance to say it, but I just want to thank CHA for the work they do. The existing Eden House is great. I think it's fantastic. You guys are building, further housing for this underserved community, and commend you guys.
Here, here.
Thank you.
At this time, we will open it up for public comment. Just as a reminder, there's a 3-minute time limit. Please do not take our silence as anything but respectful for what you're sharing with us and what you're doing. And if you just come up, the microphone's already on, and just state your name and your address. And you gotta sign that piece of paper. You guys figure it out.
Mark Burkowski, 167 North Main Street. I'm a resident in Cranbury for over 50 years. I'm glad to hear Mr. Christopher pulled the resolution regarding the round 4 affordable housing. But it's a big disappointment that there was not a presentation of the round 4 requirements given to the public before the resolution was approved. I don't know if Township Committee is aware of what is in that. I would be happy to give you a presentation. We did that yesterday at our CHA annual meeting to basically tell the public what is in this round 4 document from the state. I've heard some things tonight that I don't believe are quite correct. The resolution you passed tonight, I agree, needs to be passed in order to avoid a builder's remedy. I don't know if everyone knows what a builder's remedy. It's a developer can sue the town and build 4 market price units for every affordable unit. That's what CHA and the town has fought for 40 years, not to do builder's remedies. So passing that was step 1 because the deadline says by January 31st. So I'm glad you passed it. What I am disappointed in is this committee may or may not be well-versed in round 4 requirements and has not presented it to the public. And I think you've done a big disservice to the public. They don't know what's going on. I don't know if everybody here knows what's going on. You passed a resolution that agrees with 265 homes in Cranbury. That's what the document says. We didn't have to agree with that. I know you have an affordable housing consultant, Mary Beth Flanagan, is excellent. She was at COA when we were first applying. She has advised the town before, but we've also been part, as residents, part of your affordable housing subcommittee. And I don't think you have that now. You don't have resident input. You don't have knowledge of 40 years of developing affordable housing. You know what the rules are, or our consultant knows what the rules are, but do you know what it really means? So the number is 265. We can reduce that number by 25% by using credits, and we've done that and can do that. Brings us potentially down to 199. We do not have to use one developer to develop 100 and 200 houses. We've done it before. We have 10 years. We need a plan in place in order to avoid lawsuits and a builder's remedy. But I think there are many ways to do it just then. Going to developer, buying land, here it is, you're done. And I know talking to fellow residents, they keep asking me what's going on. My answer is, I don't know. I know what I read. I know what we've put together through consultants ourselves. But I think the committee needs to be educated and the community needs that opportunity to be educated. There is no transparency right now with Township Committee and affordable housing needs. And I'm really disappointed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kathy Lair. I live at 1 Lidkey Drive, and I've been in Cranbury for 21 years now, and I've been a member of the CHA board for 11 of those years. And boy, time really flies. So I'm kind of a newbie, you know, I haven't been around for 50 years, 40 years. What continues to amaze me is the amount of expertise and dedication in the board members that I get to work with on CHA. Many of them have been here for 30 and 40 years on the board, and we have new ones. We have 3 new members, younger members who just joined us this year. So it's a remarkable board, and there is so much knowledge and expertise that I would like to ask the Township Committee to take advantage of that expertise and knowledge. I know Mark has offered the services of CHA as you go through the planning process for this round 4. And I think it would be in the best interest of today's residents and the new residents who are going to live in that affordable housing to take advantage of the expertise. Whether you use CHA to do the building, that's your choice as you go forward. But as you talk to CHA, I'd like to just mention a couple of the kinds of things that might be of interest to you as you go forward with this project. First of all, there were 5 design principles that have been used in all of the development that CHA has done. CHA has built well over 100 units for the town so far over the past several years. I won't go through those design elements, but one of them, for example, is walkability to the village. You might want to look at their funding methodology. The town has always provided the land and a small amount of upfront funding to get the project started. CHA, as a nonprofit, then secures a mortgage to pay for the building, and we use the rentals to pay the mortgage off so that the town does not have to put the rest of that money in. We also can give a 3% payment in lieu of taxes to the town from the rental. Again, this is a nonprofit, so everything that comes to us goes back into the project. There's no profit. This is a nonprofit organization, a completely volunteer board. When you look at the build process, as Mark has been referring to, they find the engineers, they work with the planners, they hire the builders, pay for it with the secured mortgage money, and then there's the ongoing maintenance. CHA owns these homes, owns these buildings, and we use a wonderful property manager in Piazza and Associates to maintain them and to manage them going forward. Timing and size of the projects is another element. As Mark said, towns have 10 years to do round 4. We have always done our projects small and scattered throughout town so that they're really integrated. Some of them are hard to find. If you walk around, you don't even know that they're affordable housing. So that's another element. And finally, the notion of affordability and perpetuity, because these are owned by a nonprofit, in 30 to 40 years, when that time limit runs out, when they can revert to market rate, the ones that are owned by a nonprofit are not going to revert. Other ones could, and then that'll put a whole other burden on the next generation. I know that sounds like a long time away, but time flies and it really isn't. So those are some of the elements that we would like to share with you. There's so many others, but really, we'd really just like you to talk to us as you go through the planning, because there's just so much expertise in this board. So thank you.
Write my name first, but it's Liz Begonis, and I live at 1 Haggerty Lane, which is actually in the photos you just saw. I live right next to Eden House and the old Cranbury Road affordable housing. So I'm a resident of Cranbury. I work at the Cranbury Public Library, and I'm also a member of the Cranbury Housing Associates Board. I would like to reiterate the previous requests and ask that the Township Committee continue to utilize CHA's input and expertise in round 4 of affordable housing. Affordable housing is an inevitability, one that I personally welcome wholeheartedly. I believe in providing an equal opportunity for all to enjoy what our great state and our great town has to offer. Unfortunately, NIMBYism, misperceptions about the demographics served, and the remedies frequently employed to create affordable housing have made this a contentious subject throughout our state that leaves many in opposition to the changes and additions required. In Cranbury, I understand that a lot of concerns over introducing more affordable housing revolve around preserving the character of our town. We've all seen massive apartment units pop up in the surrounding towns, those that loom glaringly among their environs, and I understand and also maintain a reluctance to see that happen here in Cranbury. For the past 40 years, CHA has worked to assist the township in incorporating affordable housing into Cranbury without compromising the character of our town or placing immediate and irreparable burdens on the infrastructure, roads, and school. We've sought to seamlessly integrate new structures and modify existing ones while listening to input from neighbors about how best to achieve this. In doing so, we respect the historical character of Cranbury and existing residents, while also creating new homes that allow new residents to feel immediately at home, not othered by their homes and concerned about stigmas related to living in housing that belays anything about their financial status. In the previous 3 rounds of affordable housing under COA, CHA has helped contribute to the creation of 128 total affordable units, which puts Cranbury in the advantageous position of having no outstanding present need for housing from these previous rounds, something that many municipalities cannot claim. We wish to continue to contribute at this level and help this new phase. In your consideration, I implore you to consider how many CHA-built homes in Cranbury you would be able to identify on site if you didn't already know where they were located. I suspect that for most, it would be a number closer to 0 than 128, With our involvement, we promised our intent is to keep it that way. Thank you.
Okay, my name is Nick Mattison. I live at 57 South Main Street. I'm actually here to talk about a slightly different but related topic. So I just moved here with my family in the summer of 2024 from England. And we thought Cranbury was one of the most beautiful towns we'd ever seen in America. And I feel it's really important that we preserve Cranbury as a beautiful town that is safe for our kids to walk or bike to school. So I basically want to raise two problems. So the first one is the amount of through traffic that is coming through Cranbury, especially from 130 onto Station Road and Station Road going back onto 130. This is driven by GPS routing as a direct route. So more and more people are using GPSs. These are not people that are coming to do business in Cranbury or who live in Cranbury. They're often on their phones. They're often playing really loud music. They're not driving in the way that residents of Cranbury drive through Cranbury. This first problem is compounded by the second problem, where there's a real lack of pedestrian and bicycle-friendly traffic calming measures. Even if you compare us with other towns in the local area, like Plainsborough, for example, they have much more clear, bright yellow signs for pedestrian crossings. They have those traffic speed signs that show you your current speed relative to the actual speed limit. And I really think there's a lot more that we could do to prevent this dangerous through traffic coming through Cranbury. Just to share a personal story, I went to church with my family on Christmas Eve, so my wife and 3 young children, at the Presbyterian Church on Main Street. The service finished around 5 p.m. and it was dark outside. We literally couldn't cross the street across Main Street to go back onto the east side of Main Street because so many cars were coming through. There's a crossing there, which is not well signposted, that everyone just drove through and ignored. Felt like we were risking our life on Christmas Eve just to cross Main Street. This is with a 9-year-old, a 7-year-old, and a 2-year-old. So some ideas of what we can do. I think lowering the speed limit to 15 miles per hour on Main Street and Station Road. This will Google Maps algorithm will use the speed limit to calculate routes, and this will deter through traffic from cutting through there. Also considering just closing off the entrance to 130 from Station Road totally. Just being new to America and moving from England, I think it's totally crazy that there's an entrance on a big road to 130 directly onto a residential street like that. I don't know why it's there, and I think it should be closed. I also think we need to better design our signage. Trucks are apparently, according to the website, trucks are not allowed through and there's a $500 fine, but trucks are coming through all the time and the signage is not clear enough. So just in closing, I think if we do not act, the situation will quickly get worse. Car volumes are just going to increase, GPS usage will increase, and we're going to be just like another lane on Route 130 if we don't do something. So we really need to act now to protect the safety of our children and our beautiful 300-year-old town.
Hi, Lisa Rue, 18 Adams Drive. I'm here with CHA as well. I think I've already kind of mentioned, really just want to ditto everything Mark, Liz, and Kathy mentioned. Thank you, Rob, for bringing it up today. I think it's good to continue the discussion. As I said before, please bring us to the table. As Matt said, there is a subcommittee. We were not aware that there is a subcommittee. Sounds like the subcommittee has talked to developers. We would like you to talk to CHA. That's our main thing, is that I think you'd learn a lot if you actually sat down and talked with us and realized that we can handle this and we don't want just one developer to come in and do this, because I think that would really ruin the town. So, thank you.
I know I only have 3 minutes to talk, so I have some printouts. I'm an outsider. I'm not a CHA person. I met Mark yesterday. Pat O'Grady, 55 South Main Street. So I don't get into politics at all, but in this case, I was thinking Thursday, I said, we got this phase 4, 265 units. It just, and I went on the website, Township website, found nothing. I talked to a number of people and they weren't aware of what's going on. And that really concerned me. This is what I kind of wrote up. The first page is just what I found. You're familiar with the 265 units. I think that's very, very much excessive. Anything we could do to reduce that. Mark said we can bring it down to 199. Anything we do to lower it below that, I think would be great. I think the more units you have, the poorer they're going to be. Fewer units, do it better. You know, I obviously have to get approvals. I have big problems with Murphy. He's shoving this down our throats. And I saw in today's paper, Trump is more popular in New Jersey than Murphy. But Murphy's, he passed this thing. It doesn't make any sense to me, the way they do the formulas. So I have so many issues. The second page, hopefully read the first page. This is what I found out. But the second page is more just kind of the issues. One, 265 is too much. Secondly, and I talked to Lisa about this a little on Thursday, can we work with local politicians to work with us in some capacity? Lisa mentioned, I forgot her name, Linda Greenstein. And I think in the past that she hasn't been a fan of Cranbury and the housing issues we had from other people I've talked to. But, please, make an effort with her and anybody that can to hopefully reduce the number. Where are we going to put the units? Talking to Lisa, she doesn't want them east of 130. I don't know. Other people I spoke to said we don't have the space. So there's a lot of issues. The 265 is just a number dumped on us. Is there a ballpark estimate of what each unit's going to cost? Fifth one, how many residents would this add to Cranbury, and what would the impact be on school? We just talked about traffic. There's going to be some impact there. Will there be a Mount Laurel phase 5? There probably will be. And if they do the same formula that he did in phase 4 and phase 5, it's going to be even worse. And so I think at some point you got to get connected to these politicians and saying this doesn't work. And looking at numbers, there's only, I'm going to keep going. There's only, well, I'm going to keep going. There's only, just 30 seconds. There's only going to be like 15 communities where they're actually hit with this 20% figure. And we're one of them. So it's not like everybody in New Jersey affected this way. Cranbury really has a special burden. And, I've been here 40 years. I love the community. And I hate to see something like this destroy it. And I don't think there's been enough attention. Leading on to what Mark said initially, I don't think there's enough attention. There's not enough publicity. There's not enough meetings to do what's going to be best for Cranbury and to work with the politicians in New Jersey. Sorry to go over.
Hi, I'm Kim Adams. I'm at 8 Prospect Street. I had a prepared speech and I threw it out the window when you said we can't do what we did in the past. I think it is doable. In fact, I think it's the best way to go. You've heard some of the objections, but in essence, we've done a better job than Princeton, and we will continue to do a better job than Princeton. If you look at the Princeton example, you see the worst case scenario. You see huge buildings, you see impact on the school, you see impact on taxes, all things that CHA over time has managed to minimize or avoid. That has been one of our principles, to serve the community by seeing that these things are not devastating to the current residents because of the costs. We've had other principles too, things like making sure that the architecture and the size of these buildings blend into the town, partly because of our historic designation, but also because we don't want to ghettoize the people that move here. We've kept them in town. We've kept them so that people living in mansions next to them have no idea they're living next to affordable housing. This makes our new residents very comfortable. We've also spread it out over time, which, since we have 10 years and we can do smaller units, 20 a year if we have to, the impact on the school and on taxes, particularly the school, is not going to be, if we do it that way, the way it's impacting the Princeton School District, where there's this huge influx and they have to deal with it in a very massive kind of way. We have room in our school right now. We can spread it out. It won't hurt the classroom size. It'll be hopefully minimal on things like the need for teachers or the need for additional books and instructional materials. The other thing is, I have to agree with everyone else that there has not been enough information out there. I've talked to a number of people. They're not very happy. They're confused. And obviously, without information, they will think the worst. And we don't need that kind of tension in an already too tense world. So I would urge you to do two things. Bring CHA into the planning. We have very good ideas. We know what works. We talk to people. And be more transparent to the community. Put the information out there so that people are not nervous, upset, angry, and that they can be part of the process. They can come and tell you what it is they want, and you can talk to them about what's doable and what's not, what the process is about, because you don't have a lot of wiggle room on some things, but you do on others, including the way you get to do it. Thank you.
Don't start it yet. I didn't start talking. Sally O'Grady, 55 South Main Street, and I am not a member of CHA, but I did attend their meeting yesterday, and I honestly was disappointed that there were no members of the Township Committee there, because it was an extremely informative meeting about what is happening, what's coming, what they've done in the past, and what they hope to do in the future. And I just hope that you as a board will please listen to them, take into consideration their knowledge, their expertise, and the fact that they really want to help this town, and they really want to help new residents of this town that are going to come in and live in these affordable housing units. I was extremely impressed by the list of members and the board members, and hearing you talk about all the vacancies in different things in the town. CHA doesn't have any vacancies. They're doing a great job, and they're doing it all on their own and all voluntary. And so please listen to them, listen to their expertise, use their advice, and let's try to do it a little at a time and not 200 all at once. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Linda Schilling. I live at 40 Station Road. And I came down to support CHA and what they were asking of the Township Committee for the group home. But I also want to say I've been very disappointed that There's been no information. I read all the township committee meeting minutes, the planning board, all of them. My husband used to be chair of the planning board, and I haven't seen any information about this affordable housing, and I was been very worried about it. So I would just encourage you to be a little bit more open and transparent. And, you don't have to do a secret negotiation or whatever. Just, use CHA, inform the public what's going on, because I know I personally am disappointed in that. Thank you.
Hi, how are you? My name is Manan Shah. I live at 152 North Main Street. Thank you so much for all your service to the town. We really appreciate it. I have two things I'd like to just address. The first is, it'll just echo what my fellow residents have said. I think one solution is that I was just watching this on YouTube, which is a great service that you guys provide, but you might want to provide it on Facebook or other social media properties where a lot of residents actually spend a lot of time and where you actually see a lot of comments related to some of these issues. The second thing is actually what I wanted to address with the Township Committee, which is just a request to strengthen oversight and enforce completion standards for new potential construction in the town. I'll use two quick examples. The first is, not to pick on them, but Cranbury Commons, but there's a there's a large disconnect between what was presented to the town and what that property looks like today. And I think that the town needs to take a little bit more of a proactive approach on making sure that these, the way that these projects are presented is the way that they're actually completed for residents to enjoy them, whether irrespective of what the end use purpose of the project is. The second would be existing construction in town. The example I'll use is, I know that there is construction happening at the end of the intersection of South Main Street and Route 130. There was a makeshift fence that was put there to facilitate the construction, where you could not see when you were making a right turn onto 130 for several weeks, which created a real danger on an already very dangerous part of Cranbury. And I actually ran over a wooden piece of fence that came up and gave us a flat tire. So, just the enforcement of making sure that there's safety as it relates to existing projects that are in process. Thank you again so much for all your service to the town. Appreciate it.
Hi, Kathy Meyer Helstern, 17 Evans Drive. I've lived in town about 38 years. I'm not on any of the committees. I have recently, through a family member, gotten to know some about CHA. I'm just coming with a question, just a naive question. Now that I'm retired, I guess I have to assume, I was just befuddled about why Cranbury Housing wouldn't have been involved. So, because it seems like a no-brainer to me. So my question for consideration is it just you didn't get there yet? Because you're either behind or just didn't get there, it's not the time? Or is there a reason why you wouldn't engage CSA? So I'm just opening that as a question. I just left really confused. Thanks. Mm-hmm.
Is there any other member of the public that would like to speak? Seeing none, we will close public comment at this time. Wow, like clockwork, literally. All right. Okay. Are there any action items? I took one to follow up and take point on getting some minutes or summaries from the info sessions from the fire department. Any other actions captured? Okay.
Well, we've had a lot of questions tonight from CHA, and I think in some process it has to be addressed. And for me, my take home is transparency and information, and it's not lost on me at all. I think I really appreciate when our public can come to us with their concerns, and we can speak to each other and, you know, absorb the information. So thank you to everybody that did come tonight. Thank you.
Yeah, and we normally don't comment on public comment, but thank you all for coming out and expressing your opinions on this. We will take it under consideration.
So I guess a question would be, obviously, there's a lot of concern and, justified from the public about the upcoming mandates and CHA's role. So do we need to have a work session, or do we need to maybe,
Maybe
future meetings?
Yeah, maybe future meeting, and maybe, we can create kind of an FAQ, that can help people answer some, what I would think are some seemingly easy questions that we could help educate the public. I took the same words down multiple times: transparency and information. So, I don't necessarily know if, again, we can look at a schedule. I don't know if you want to do that twice in that February 27th meeting. It sounds like the urgency is there for us to maybe do a work session on it.
I don't know if the subcommittee is ready to do a work session yet. That's up to the subcommittee.
So then okay. So then that would be the follow-up action, is the subcommittee to meet and give some recommendations on when they would be ready.
Yes.
And that would be a public working, that would be during a normal TC meeting.
Be a work session.
Yeah.
The public wouldn't comment until the end of the meeting.
Okay.
If I may, I was on the subcommittee last year. We met, I think, twice. And I know there's a lot of concern, and I think it's all justifiable. You hear this number 265 and you think, oh my God, what's going to happen? The fact of the matter is, we're not withholding any information because we don't really have much information. We really don't know what's going on yet. And, we're talking about 10 years down the road, and, we're just starting this process. So if there's not a lot of information on the website, it's not because it's being held back. It's because we simply don't have it yet. We're just not there. I had similar questions, over the past year, like, well, what's going on? We just don't know. I mean, the good news is we're getting ahead of it. I think that, none of us wants a builder's remedy, and we know the horror stories of towns that, have decided to push back against the state. And I, just as an aside, I disagree with that. I want affordable housing, and I want to make the people that do end up coming here feel like they're part of our town. I think it's really important that we continue to grow and that we open up our doors to all comers. But again, I just don't think we have that information yet. And I think a work session in the next, 6 to 8 weeks, I guess, I think would be reasonable. Just if I could, because I'm on the traffic subcommittee. Nick, was it? Nick, you're new to town, but unfortunately, all of these issues are old, and we've dealt with them over the past years. When I was mayor, we had a young lady who unfortunately was hit by a car, and her dog died on South Main, right by the firehouse. At that time we did a couple of things. We put in lit crosswalks. And the struggle with the burden of traffic that we have in our town is not unique to Cranbury. It's all of Middlesex County and all of central New Jersey. And we are definitely trying, and I don't know if you're privy to any of our meetings last year, but we had multiple conversations about what can be done. We've worked with the county, and we'll continue to work with the county. Unfortunately, Main Street is a county road. So we're continuing to try and figure out ways to calm traffic. And, I live on North Main, so I feel your pain, and I know what it's like. I've got 3 kids myself. So it's something that we're working on and we'll continue to work on. But there's no quick, easy answers, unfortunately.
Thanks.
If you don't mind, I just wanted to point out something. We actually have quite an advantage this evening because a lot of the concerns was heard firsthand by our assemblywoman who's sitting in our
I
audience
know, I
tonight.
don't want to bring it up. But
So,
Hello, good.
So much of, the direction that we would have gone with regards to speaking to an elected official has, they're sitting right here with us and it's valid concern. So thank you for being here.
I'm sorry. Busy night. One last action item, Mr. Shaw's concerns about the following up on construction. I think that's something that we should look into. Maybe we can talk to our construction official.
So the construction official doesn't look into projects that are already complete. His work is done once they get a CO. That would be the zoning officer if there are any regulations that they're breaking. I can tell you there are reasons why certain things are not happening at Cranbury Commons, and it's confidential litigation. So that's Cranbury Commons. Other properties where fencing and things may be blowing over and they are still in construction, yes, the inspector will go out there, and if they see that, they'll let them know. But the inspector is only out there when they're going out to do an inspection. They're not out there 24/7. So sometimes things do happen in the interim. If a call is made into construction and they're told that something's going on, they'll go out and address it.
Okay, just to recap, just to make sure. Again, action, I'll try to get some minutes and summary from the fire department on their info sessions. The Affordable Housing Subcommittee is going to hopefully have a meeting and then tell us if a 6 to 8 week period of time to us scheduling a working session can be added to our agenda. And then we can just do an inquiry to zoning official on completed construction. Construction official would be ongoing construction.
Correct. And zoning
make
would
sure I got it
be
right.
if there's a use issue, signage issue.
Last call. Anything else, Matt? Positive? Okay. Go ahead, Barb.
I just wanted to address the bikeability. There is a bike network plan that we have been working on for 4 years. And, Main Street is a county road, and we have spoken to them about making it more safe for bikeability. And we are working on delineating the slowing down places and 25 miles an hour with gateway signs that take a little while, but they should be going into. So they are being addressed. It does take time. And
to reiterate, Station Road is also a county road, just to make that clear. So both roads that were mentioned tonight are under the property of the county, responsibility of the county. Well, I knew it. Yes, Matt.
So we do have a traffic subcommittee, ad hoc meetings. So I think it might be a good idea in the next couple of months for us to meet, just to sort of catch up and see where we're at. We can address some concerns that residents have and maybe come out with a little more sort of updated information for people, because I know people are moving into town and they see traffic issues and they have concerns and they want to know whether that's been addressed. So I think maybe we could set up a meeting with Barbara and Ms. Marabello and Andrew, our traffic.
Perfect. That's our 4th action item now.
That's it. I'm done.
I don't believe you, but I'm going to make anyone a motion to adjourn. Oh,
Because I wasn't sure how you guys were here for the public meeting.
can I
Should we?
What, you want to speak?
Yeah.
You want to make public comment? Yeah. Sure.
Can I,
Do
so I'm going to reopen public comment?
Yeah.
Okay, absolutely.
Because I was really just thinking like your president's.
No. Appreciate that.
So happy New Year, everyone.
Can you push the
Thank
button?
you.
So that you would- It's for the recording, not the room. No, the other.
Oh, that's a turn red.
There we go.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Non-intuitive.
So happy New Year, everyone. Assemblywoman Tennille McCoy.
representing the 14th district. And so one of the things I wanted to say is I always want to be able to work with our mayors and council. That's why I'm actually here today. Wanted to kind of hear some of the things that are happening within the town. I was just meeting with Heights Town's Complete Streets, where we kind of talked about they're having very similar issues to you as well, and having conversations around how do we touch base with our county, but also are looking at some of our federal grants. So I definitely want to make sure that we are working together. So anytime that you want to incorporate myself or my office into those particular meetings or those conversations, or how can we look at funding? So my chief of staff, Sam, is here today. We're already going to start looking at some of those grants, and we'll shift them over to the mayor and making sure. But on the affordable housing piece, when you have your working committee, please bring those issues to me so we can kind of have that discussion regarding the numbers especially.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Really appreciate you being here tonight.
Absolutely. Thank you for
I'm
having
sure,
me.
and I'm sure I'm speaking for the residents too. Thank you.
If I may, I've been here 7 years. You're the first county official to come to a meeting to offer this help. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
It's also, it's the first time we reopened public comment. So yeah, that's two firsts.
Sorry, Mayor.
That's all right. Glad to have it. Glad to have it. Thank you very much. I will close public comment formally and a motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.